Aloha everybody, welcome back to Eat and Be Eaten. Today's video is all about how to plant bananas. This is a step-by-step guide. So the first thing to know, you don't plant bananas from seeds. You plant them from keiki or young saplings that are growing off the underground root or rhizome of the mother stalk. So I have a few small patches of bananas and I'm going to expand to this lowest row of my orchard here. You can see we have the fence line, a row of macadamia nut trees, and a nice 10-foot swath of open space. So that's where I'm going to start planting out more bananas. Now when it comes to choosing new ones, you can see here the stump of a stalk that had a rack of fruit on it that I cut down. When you harvest a rack of bananas, you cut down the entire stalk that the rack of fruit is growing on. If you want to see a video, click the link in the upper corner of the right way to harvest bananas. And so out of that, the new stalks are going to start growing. So you want to choose one that's nice and small, one of the youngest ones, because the older ones are going to have the next rack of bananas. The tools you're going to need for this job are a shovel and what's called an o'o bar. An o'o bar is a big metal digging stick that you're going to use to sever the stalk of the banana from the main clump at the root. 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. Although I don't want our new banana to be right by this macadamia nut, so if you could move back a little, I'm going to put it right about here, equidistant from these two mac nuts. Also, gets some nice sun here. Bananas are what they call heavy feeders, so they like lots of water, they like lots of rich soil, they like lots of sun, lots of everything. So this will be a great spot, bottom of the orchard, rich soil, plenty of shade in the day as the sun passes across these trees, but also plenty of sun as well. So I'm going to dig a hole here. Since the young stalk is small, about 2 feet across and 2 feet deep will be plenty for the hole. Okay, since this is so close to these macadamia nut trees, you can see the mac nut roots, that red color inside the roots. So, gotta bust through those. Just tear right through the root, get it out of there. Coming off the edge. This one is also a good choice, but it's a little thicker, so I'm gonna take this small one. And so what you gotta do, grass out of here. But what we got to do is try to sever this stalk right at the base with the o'o bar so that we get some root ball in there so it can continue to grow. It's important not to damage the stalk, so you got to make a really precise strike in there. So let's see how it goes. Okay, and you can kind of wiggle the o'o bar to start to loosen up the stalk. So it's more, this right here is a stalk that I cut down to harvest a rack a few months ago. So it's more safe, or you can be a little more rough with prying against this one since it's already spent.
There you go. Get it. Yeah!
So as you can see, there's still plenty of root ball and roots coming off the bottom. So when we replant this in the ground, it's going to take and it's going to be able to keep growing and start to grow new leaves and survive. So now I'm going to take it over to the spot I prepared and get this new keiki of banana in the ground. And to help with the shock and to make sure this new stalk gets a good start, I'm going to plant it in 3/4 compost and just 1/4 of the backfill of the soil that I dug out. I brought the machete because when you're planting out bananas, you want to cut off all these excess leaves. Otherwise they're just going to wilt, take the energy from the plant. You want the plant focusing its energy on establishing its new root system in a new place. So we're going to cut off all but the youngest unfurling banana leaf. So there we go. Just the youngest leaf coming from directly in the center, still unfurling, is going to stay. And now, let me get into this compost. Hi, honey. Okay, so Hannah, come on close. In my stalk, directly in the center of the hole. Spread it out evenly. And whenever you're planting a tree, you want to leave a slight depression so that when it rains, water can pool in there and retain moisture better. Now, I'm going to take some of this dirt I dug out and use that as the top layer. Okay, and now I'll water it in, and this will be the start of a new banana patch. And as this stalk gets big, little keiki are going to start to grow off the underground rhizome of this one and form a new patch. So that is how you expand your bananas from an existing patch in your orchard. And one last thing, I'm going to take the banana leaves that I just cut and use those to mulch around the base so that they can hold in moisture and suppress weeds. And as you can see here, after I water in the new banana, the water pools on those durable leaves that are going to last for weeks and stays there and is going to slowly seep into the ground and feed that banana plant. People often think bananas are trees, but they're actually herbs in the grass family, and for that reason, the right way to harvest a rack of bananas is something that surprises a lot of people who aren't familiar with them. So that's the subject of today's video on Eat and Be Eaten Hawaii. Bananas have a succulent stem that's made of tightly packed leaf sheaths that overlap. It's actually distantly related to ginger in that the young banana stalks grow off an underground rhizome, and it's for this reason that the harvesting method is what it is. We planted these apple bananas about 2 years ago, and they've had a nice fat rack ripening for about the last 5 months. I'm coming down to check on the banana rack. It is very close to being ripe. Plump bananas, they look beautiful. These are apple bananas, hard as a rock still. So it's important at this stage to keep checking every day or so, because you don't want the bananas to ripen and then you get a bunch of rats in there eating them. We're in a macnut orchard here, so there's rats, and they love to burrow into these banana racks. So every day I'll keep checking, and then once one banana gets yellow, that's the sign that it's time to harvest. And now here we are 1 week later, 5.5 months of developing on this banana rack. And there it is. And we know it's ripe because we have our one yellow banana. So if you are not familiar with bananas, if you're used to just seeing them in the grocery store, the way you harvest a rack, I'm going to take the bottom of the flower off, make it easier to hold. I'm going to hold it by this. And this is a dwarf banana, so I'm going to actually just cut it right here and take it off. But the way you harvest a banana rack is by taking down the entire stump that it's associated with, that it's growing from. That's the makua, or the mother. On a banana plant, the mother stalk is the one that has the ripe rack of bananas, and you can see the keiki, the babies, grow off the side of the mother from the underground rhizome. The mother needs to be cleared to make room for them to grow eventually. And we'll clear that out, and then that will give room for the smaller keiki, or children stalks of bananas, to grow up and produce their own rack. I'm going to hold at the base here and take it off up here. Okay, there we go. There is our banana rack. Now we can hoist this up to the house and we'll hang it And then, now check this out, Hannah. You can see all the sap dripping. And that sap is extremely sticky and will stain. So you don't want to get that on your clothes if you can help it. But this biggest stalk I'm going to take down with the machete. And now this will become great mulch. In a future video, I'm going to show you guys how to use banana stalks to mulch and all the benefits of them. But yeah, so that is how you take bananas down. You take the whole, because bananas are actually a grass. And you take the whole thing down, and then now these guys have all this room to grow and make their own banana racks. Aloha everybody, welcome back to Eat and Be Eaten. As you can see in our last video, we harvested a rack of bananas from this apple banana patch, and today I am going to show you what to do with all that leftover plant material. Also coming up next week, we're going to do a banana bread recipe with this, as well as poi pancakes with a banana Foster sauce. So check all that out on Eat and Be Eaten coming up, and let's get into this one. So when you harvest a rack of bananas, you got to cut the whole stump down, and then you have this massive amount of plant material. So what are you going to do with it? First step, cut off the leaves. Cut off the leaves and you have a massive amount of mulch that you can use to put around a fruit tree. Now, what is it that makes banana plants the best mulch for your garden or for your orchard? In this case, I'll be using them in the orchard. When you think about eating bananas, right, doctor tells you they are really rich in potassium, the fruit. And the entire plant is rich in potassium, but when you get into the banana blossoms and the stems and the peels and the stalk, you also get a few more nutrients that become very prominent that you can use. So in addition to potassium, you're also going to have phosphorus, magnesium, and calcium in particular. And of course, when it comes to growing plants, NPK are the three most important nutrients: nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. So being green plant matter, it's also going to have plenty of nitrogen. So basically, banana plants have all the heavy hitter nutrients to grow plants in your garden, in your orchard. However, there's one more component that bananas bring to the table that you don't usually get, and that is an enzyme they contain that quote-unquote activates compost. There's a lot of enzymes involved. I'm not going to get into the whole science of that, but basically the enzyme that activates compost gets plant material breaking down and taking food waste, turning it into rich soil, dark, rich, loamy soil. Bananas are really good at helping to do that. And so once you've got your leaves cut, then you cut lengthwise your stalks, and they break apart into these strips or these sections, which you can see here. And so as big as one banana stalk is, you can actually turn it into, not infinitely, but many-fold more plant material that you can lay out and cover to suppress weeds with, and cover a bunch of space around a tree in your orchard or in your garden. Actually, you can kind of see how these stalks are breaking into peels and strips, and you can use a scraper to get all that material out and and make fiber and rope and cordage out of banana plants too. But that's not the subject of this video, so go ahead, split your stalks in half, tear all the sections apart, and it's very durable material, so it lasts a really good while before it breaks down and weeds will start going through. So that's what makes it not only a really good weed suppressant, but also really good at holding moisture in the soil, because banana plants, like I said, they don't break down very quickly, and they're a thick material, so they will hold in moisture for weeks. And then you will see when you peel up those stalks and they finally break down, the soil underneath is going to be rich, it's going to be wet, it's going to be dark, especially if you mulch with bananas over and over again. Some years back I grew a taro patch and used bananas to mulch a lot, and the soil was just tremendous from all those reapplications of banana stalks and banana leaves into the ground. Okay, so that is why banana plants make the best mulch for your garden, and now I'm going to show you what they look like a few weeks later. As you can see, they're still breaking down. This is two and a half weeks after I did the mulching, which was in and of itself a few days after I harvested the bananas. So about 3 weeks later, still not broken down, still keeping the grass down. So terrific for suppressing weeds, terrific for keeping soil moisture, and then of course all those great nutrients, the potassium, the phosphorus, the enzymes that help to activate compost, takes your soil to another level. And that is why, for me, banana plants are the best mulch for your garden, the volume of the material and all those benefits. Mahalo for watching, guys. Remember to leave a comment and subscribe to see the rest of this apple banana series. Aloha.